Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Nikki Uncut. This is going to be a full face of products I don't like. And when I was picking the products for this video, I want to make sure that I call out that this is not meant to, be negative and anything like that. It's just meant to hopefully be entertaining, and also just maybe informative. So if you have skin like mine, or if maybe you usually like the kind of products that I like in general that you see me use on my channel, then you're not going to love these products as well. If you have like the same kind of style and if you're drawn towards the same kind of products and same kind of formulas that I am. So all that to say, I have pulled a ton of products that just don't work well for me personally. And it doesn't mean that they're bad products. It doesn't mean that these brands suck. It doesn't mean anything like that. It just means that these products did not work for me and therefore I just do not like them and I do not enjoy them. So I'd be lying if I said I was really excited to do this video. I'm actually really not excited to put a full face of these products on my face. However, I think it'll be fun. And who knows, maybe I'll change my mind at the end of this video. Maybe I'll end up falling in love with one of these products and it'll be like a total surprise. So stick around to the end to find out if I do end up liking these products after all, or at least some of them. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't have high hopes for them. So without further ado, I'm gonna stop talking. We're gonna get into it. And the first product I'm gonna put on my skin is something that I don't want to put on my skin. This is something that I just did not like at all. I feel like it didn't do anything. It's the Milk Pore Eclipse something stick primer. I can't even read this because it's all black, which is very much my aesthetic. I love all black everything. Cars, bathrooms. I have an all black bathroom. But I can't read this to save my life. And so it just frustrates me. So I think it's called the Pore Eclipse something. Matte primer stick. It's gimmicky. I have talked about this before. I'm going to put it on the areas of my skin that have the most visible pores, which is the T-zone, and around my nose. And it just feels gummy and gooey and like icky and thick and just like Elmer's glue. And I really don't appreciate it. So let me tap it in with my fingers. Let's give it a solid go. Like all the products I'm going to put on my face right now, I'm just going to be totally honest with you. I'm not going to put them on in a way where it's like, I'm not going to give them a fighting chance. I'm going to give these a good fighting chance today, okay? So moving on to the next product that I really cannot stand on myself. I really cannot stand this product on myself. But that is because I have truly like combination leaning oily skin. Like I get very, very shiny throughout the day. And this whatever it's called, Slip Tint, has broad spectrum SPF 35. I have the shade 4. This just quite literally is like, it just slides off my face. I'm going to, against my will, put it on with a very clean N17 brush. And if you have my N17 brush, you know how nice it is when it's clean and not filled with foundation and cream blushes and all those things, because I use it for a lot of different purposes for my complexion. So it kind of pains me to put on or to get it dirty with a product that I really just cannot stand. So, I know a few people and I know a few creators that actually really like this product, and I can see why it works for their skin because they have much more dry skin than I do. And if you're not new here, you already know that I am more of an oily girl. And on top of it, I love me some hydrating skincare, and I love my actives. I love my vitamin C's. I love, just all like the hyaluronic acid type serums under my makeup, because I do want that juicy, healthy, plumped and hydrated skin. So what I like to do personally and what works best for me is I like to counteract and balance out my skin prep and also my skin type with products and foundations that lean more on the satin to matte side, because those work best for me, and ultimately it just creates a more balanced complexion where it's not glow, 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 oily skin, you know what I mean? So hope that makes sense. So it just feels very, it has a slight greasiness to it that I just don't like on my skin. And again, if you're someone and you're watching at home and you're like, well, I have really, really dry skin and I love, like, give me all the glow I could possibly get and give me a complexion product that is really sheer and doesn't, give me a ton of coverage and doesn't feel heavy, then you might like this. So again, I want to make sure I point that out completely, that just because these products don't work for me, It doesn't mean that they're bad, and it doesn't mean that they might not work for you. So just want to keep mentioning that so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle of this video. So applying it all over, it's giving me, you know, it's giving me some coverage, obviously. It's giving me a little bit of an even complexion. I know I have an even complexion as it is, so I don't need a ton of coverage, but you know, I do like more coverage with my products. All right, so another thing that I really do not like about this product is it never dries down. There is no self-setting aspect to it whatsoever. I mean, it just stays wet as can be, no matter what. So we're gonna struggle, and eventually when we're putting powder on top of this, because it's just gonna feel very juicy and balmy and glowy no matter what we do. All right, that is on. That's the way it looks with nothing else on my complexion. And I put it on to the best of my ability, like I said, but that is the Say Skin Tint, or Slip Tint, excuse me, in the shade 4. Now moving on to another product that just doesn't work for me personally, but I have, however, sorry, I have a major itch. That was, a product that actually works for quite a few people that I know, and also I recommend this product for very specific people. However, once again, this does nothing for my complexion, practically nothing. This is the Merit Bronze Balm in the shade Clay, which is probably a bit too light for my complexion. But the reason why I just don't like this is it's also a very soupy, wet, never dries down kind of product, very much like the Say product. And I feel like Say and Merit are very similar brands. Like I feel like their philosophy as brands are similar. I might be wrong, but that's just my impression that I get. But look how wet that gets. It's just not for me. Now I have, however, recommended this to friends and people that I talk to online who have very dry skin and also more mature leaning skin, to also actually mature skin, and also anyone who wants very, very light, natural, like a light natural bronzer that just kind of disappears into the skin. So it's not that it's a bad product. It's just not a product that I gravitate towards, that works well for me, at least not on this stage in my life. And it's just not, it just doesn't suit my skin. So it's very oily, very balmy. And I find that it just kind of slips around on my skin and just kind of pulls a little patchy. So consistency of the formula, I don't love. I know people love this product. I'm just not one of those people. So, I mean, what did it even do? I'm not quite sure. But I'm not going to go over it 1,000 times because then it's just going to look really goopy and really bad. So we're going to leave it. We're going to move on to a concealer that I really wished would have worked for me. But again, it's also from Say. It's the new, what is this also called? Slip Tint. Slip Tint, I should have known. Slip Tint Concealer. This is the shade 5. Now, once again, common theme here with this video is it's not that it's a bad product. It's actually a very nice concealer. It's just not what I like and what I look for in a concealer. It's very thin. It is, I want to say kind of like, it just doesn't give me the coverage that I need and what I look for in a concealer. I want coverage. Like I want something that's going to cover my eyes and be, you know, budge proof. I want it to have like a nice, like a little bit more of a thickness to it. This is just a little too thin where I feel like it just kind of disappears into my skin. And yeah, for that reason, it's just not my cup of tea. So I'm going to blend this out. I wear the shade 5. And you'll notice also, it just doesn't do a lot. It just doesn't do a lot. And I find that I have to like set it with a lot of powder in order to really lock it into place. And if you don't set it with powder, in my experience, and I know plenty of people that they actually think that this works really well without powder, but in my experience and for my skin specifically, I really have to dry it down and like lock it in for it not to crease. So just things like that are the reason why I don't like this concealer. But I will say, if you have extremely dry under eyes, and you then also don't need a ton of coverage, then I think that you could definitely pick this up and definitely make it work for you. Okay, so it looks okay. You know, it's not horrible. It looks fine. It's just not the best concealer on the market, in my opinion. All right, we're gonna let this dry down a little bit, and we're gonna move on to some blushes that I really wanted to work for my skin, because I am a fan of this brand, and I feel like they have some really great products, mainly like their lip products. I really like their lip products. I like their lip liners, their tinted lip balms. I love their lip plumping glosses. Just to give you a little forewarning, it's Lawless. So Lawless has great lip products, like I just mentioned, but their cream blush launch just wasn't it for me. I feel like the formula is a little inconsistent, and I feel like there's a patchiness to it that I just can't avoid. And I've tried it with like more of a matte foundation underneath. I've tried it with a skin tint underneath. I've tried it with different combinations to see if it's just, maybe it's like the product that's sitting on top of, and it turns out it's just, in my opinion, it's just the product. The product is just, it's just patchy. So I'm gonna actually apply this Starburst shade because I'm gonna go for more of like an orange, peachy tone look, judging by the rest of the products I have picked out for this look. So I'm gonna dip in with also a clean N17. So I'm gonna be cleaning a lot of N17s after this video. And I'm gonna tap it on, and you know, it's gonna look nice on camera. Also, I have like very forgiving, very nice lighting. Which of course, yeah, I wouldn't want to light myself with unflattering lighting. You know, I am putting myself on the internet. So the lighting is very flattering that I have, and it's going to look, the reason why I bring that up is because it's going to look very nice. The blush is going to look very pretty, and as a viewer, you might be thinking, well, that blush looks fantastic. It's more of like an in-person, you kind of have to be close to me and up front and like see me in a really close, in-person perspective to see the patchiness that this blush creates. So that is why you never really see me use these on my channel. I did receive these in PR from Lawless, and I'm grateful for it. I'm happy to try it. I know a lot of people that do like this formula. To me, it just doesn't work. Yeah, so I could see the patchiness coming up. This is going to be a rough makeup look. Yeah. What it does is it just lifts up a lot of the foundation underneath. And then you try to blend it more, you try to apply more, and it just gets patchier and patchier. So, yep, it's just not my friend. It's just not my friend. And combined with the Say Slip Tint, it's like a soupy, patchy nightmare on my complexion right now. So, man, okay. I don't say I didn't warn you. I told you the products are not going to work, or they're just not, they don't work for my complexion. Again, it doesn't mean they're not going to work for you. They might work perfectly on you. I just cannot get them to work on my complexion. So let's move on from the Lawless blush, because I don't want to pack on even more and get even more of a nightmare with my complexion. So let's actually move on to powder. And I'm afraid to even put this on in this video, but we're going to do it anyway because this clearly and obviously does not work for me, and it's not working for a lot of people. It's the new reformulation of the Givenchy Prism Leaf Powder. I feel like I have said that sentence so many times at this point, I can't even tell you. You know, if you missed my video about 2 weeks ago, I did a whole breakdown about the new reformulation. So if you did miss that, I'll link it in the description of this video. If I remember, hopefully I remember. I will try to remember. I'll try my best. But the reason why this new reformulation, excuse me, is not good is because there's added shimmer to it. And I don't know if it was intentional. I'm really not quite sure. So I don't want to misquote Givenchy and say something that's not true, but it would appear and seem to be that they have added more shimmer to this formula and also this shade specifically. So I'm going to put this on, and it's going to look okay on camera. You know, once again, it's going to look passable on camera. It really is. And if you were to see me up close, you'd be like, Nikki, why did you put highlighter under your eyes to set your concealer? That's not very flattering. Oh man, this is so patchy. It's hurting my soul right now. It is really hurting my soul. I didn't go into this video thinking this makeup look would be this rough, but it's turning out to be very rough. I mean, you could almost call this like a de-influencing video, if you will. Yep, all right, so we are glittery, we're glowing. Oh my God, I'm gonna wash my face after this. I didn't want it to go that way. I really didn't. But it's like the combination of all these bad products, or bad products for me, excuse me, are just, I mean, look at my sweaty upper lip. Let's just add some glittery setting powder to that. That'll help it. Okay. All right. Okay, moving on from the Givenchy. We're really just not gonna talk about it. It's gonna be the elephant in the room, you know? We're just gonna, we already discussed it. We don't need to go into detail about it. We're just going to put this away again and act like it doesn't quite exist. And you know what? Let's break out another powder that I really don't like and that just, I feel like doesn't do pretty much anything. And that is the very pricey, and I love Hourglass products. I really think they have some amazing products. This was not a successful launch for them, in my opinion. It's like $58. It's a pressed powder, and it's just a pressed powder. Like, there's nothing really groundbreaking, special about it at all, in my opinion. So let's apply this. Let me find another clean brush. Let me find my clean N15 brush. I'm going to dip into this powder, and I have the shade Translucent Medium. And let's use this to lock in what the Givenchy didn't really do a good job of doing. And this is not really a setting powder. This is more like a finishing powder, like a touch-up powder. However, we're going to try to use this to smooth out the patchiness on my cheeks right now from that Lawless blush and from the Say slip tint. I mean, let's try to reduce the sweaty look of my upper lip, because the Givenchy, I packed a bunch of powder on my lip and it still did not lock in my makeup. And that's a problem. I will just talk on this for a quick second. You know, that's one of the issues with talc-free powders, is they just don't have that lock-in ability that that a powder that contains talc has. And, you know, it's unfortunate that the world we live in right now, it's like the manufacturers, and I'm a greasy mess, I'm sorry. Some of the manufacturers, I can't say all of them, but like some of the manufacturers that are out there right now, you know, companies are like trusting them with their products and their brand. And if they're not doing their due diligence in checking their talc for asbestos, that's the whole reason why talc is an issue, in case you don't know, is you could find trace amounts or large amounts or just amounts in general of asbestos if it's not mined properly, or if it's not tested properly, basically. So it's an unfortunate thing, because I feel like talc could be totally fine. It has been fine. It has been fine for a long time. But there's some that don't do good quality control and have pretty much kind of ruined it for the rest of us, so to speak, you know? So it can be fine. It has been fine for, I don't know, 70 years. I've something like that. Who knows? I'm not sure how long talc has been an ingredient in makeup. I digress. Anyway, it's unfortunate that, you know, we can't just be all on the same page with making sure that talc is, you know, tested and like properly tested to make sure it's clean and not filled with asbestos. Anyway, we're going to move on because that is a whole other topic that I just don't want to dive that much into. And we're going to apply this Tarte bronzer. It's the Park Avenue Princess Amazonian Clay Waterproof Bronzer, and it's only the one shade, Park Avenue Princess. And it actually is looking like it's saving my makeup, to be quite honest. I'm applying it with the 104 brush, my favorite bronzer brush from BK Beauty. And this is actually a powder brush, but I use it primarily for bronzer. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like this has actually saved my forehead, at least, from the Say slip tint. It's looking more like my type of style. you know, it's a glittery bronzer. And the reason why I don't like Tarte, or excuse me, Tarte bronzers, we'll just talk about Tarte bronzers. It's because like their shades have just been notoriously horrible for as long as they've been around. And I mean like non-inclusive, ashy, just lacking in every department when it comes to like shade range and inclusivity. So their bronzers are very disappointing with the shade ranges, just to say the least. Oh my gosh, okay. This hair has got to go. All right. You know, we're getting somewhere. I'm bronzed up. I can't tell if I look kind of patchy still. I mean, I definitely look patchy right here. Like there's so much patchiness going on with this. Yeah, I gotta move on. I gotta move on. But I feel like my forehead looks better. I'm happy with my forehead, at least. But my under eyes look kind of crepey and just kind of like dusty and glittery. And as the last thing those are the last words I want to use to describe my under eyes is dusty, crepey, and glittery. But here we are. Let's move on to a highlighter that I'm so sad to have included in this video. But I gotta be real with you, this just does not float my boat. This does not work well for a lot of people. And the formula, I just feel like there's just something missing on both ends. The only thing I could say is like, I do like this for like, if my décolleté was showing, I would show you how to highlight my décolleté because it's a juicy, glowy balm. But on the face, this creates kind of a messy texture. It's just kind of difficult to work with. And then the powder is just also very disappointing, unfortunately. So I'm going to apply with the back side of my N17. This is the shade Sugar. And I love Patrick Ta. I love makeup artist built and created brands. I think they're the best brands out there. I mean, I'm definitely biased, but I truly believe that makeup artists create the best products. And this just wasn't a hit. So unfortunately, I love Patrick Ta so much. Such a fan. But there's just something kind of missing with this formula. And Sugar is fine, but the rest of them are just not impactful. They're dry. They're just not worth the money. So unfortunately, I'm not gonna go over the top complaining about that. Like that's just not the best highlighter out there. So let's move on. Let's bump up my blush because that's something I always do anyway. I do a cream usually or a liquid and then I bump it up with a powder and a powder blush that I really wanted to like because the colors are really pretty and the formula is nice. Don't get me wrong. The formula is there's nothing wrong with it. No complaints about the formula. The problem that I have with this is actually just the packaging. This is the Give Feeling Cheeky Amplifying Blush Duo in the shade Lasting Love. The shade's really pretty. You'll see in a second. Very pretty shade. To me, it's like the component is just a little wackadoo. It's just not easy to get a even application of color and product on your brush to then get an even application on your cheek. So let me show you how I would apply this, okay? I'm going to take my N15. This is what I used for the powder from Hourglass. And it's fine. Like, you can get your brush in it. But to me, having this barrier in between, it's just, it's a little inconvenient. And it's a little annoying to try to get an even coating on your brush. So that's just my biggest complaint. I wish they would have just made either this really, really thin or made it completely flush and just had just a tiny bit of like metal separating the two shades, or maybe make it like a baked moment where like it's two colors swirled together, or it's just one color, you know, that would have been totally fine too. But I just feel like there's so much dead space that's unused that they could have just given more product to the consumer and the customer. And I just feel like this is like, these are very small pans. That's my biggest complaint. So I'm going to pre-blend this on my hand to make sure it's nice and even. And then I'm going to tap it on top of the Lawless, and hopefully this fixes some of the additional patchiness that happened. And you can see it's fine. You know, it's actually not the most pigmented that, I mean, I remember this being more pigmented than it's showing up right now. I feel like it's not showing up quite as pigmented as I remember. Or as it looks in the pan anyway. yeah, I mean, it's just fine. Kind of dry. Pigment's, you know, pigment's nice, but it's just not, I feel like it's just not the best powder blush launch that you can get, especially for your money. And also just the component, like I mentioned one more time, the component, and also it's hard to open. The component is just not very practical and very user-friendly, in my opinion. If you love it, please leave me a comment, let me know below. I would love to always hear if any of these products going forward, if you are a huge diehard fan of, if you love them, please let me know and correct me if I'm wrong and if you can make these things work. I just have not had success with these. Another product that I have not had success with, and I was really disappointed with the texture and overall the lack of performance. This has little to no performance. It's the Pat McGrath Intense Eyes Longwear Primer. This does the opposite. This makes my eyeshadow slip and slide around, and it also completely breaks up that I had a trace amount of concealer on my eyelids before I started this video, and it completely rips it up, like just lifts it up, eats it up, slides it around, and it just does pretty much nothing to prime my eyes. I wish it was a thicker consistency. I swear I can talk most of the time. And it's not. It's very thin. It's very like kind of has a greasy, filmy feeling to it that I don't appreciate. I just don't appreciate it. So this is definitely a miss. There are so many better eyeshadow primers on the market that are much cheaper than this too. Pat McGrath is not cheap. And another product that I really wanted to like, because I've seen some really pretty looks with these, like created with these, but to me, these were just not it. Not a great formula at all. I think I'm only going to use this for this video. And I also have an eyeshadow palette that I'm going to put on as well. But this is the shade 04 from the Lancome Tinty Doll. These are an eyeshadow, like a liquid eyeshadow. So I'm going to apply this right on top of the Pat McGrath. And what I found the most with these is they go on pigmented. And they go on pretty smooth, and then after maybe an hour or two, they just kind of disappear. They kind of blend out into nothing. They're not as opaque as you think they're going to be when they first go on, and they just kind of turn into a patchy, like, just, look at that. I mean, it just, what happened to it? I put so much on, and it just turns into nothing on my eyelid. Just a very frustrating formula that's very lackluster and also just patchy and inconsistent. So do not love these at all. Yeah, it's just not it. It's just not it. I did, however, kind of enjoy this one, but only for certain areas. So this is the shade 01. It's a nice, just like shimmery champagne shade. I like to apply with the BaeBrow 207 brush and just kind of tap it on in the tear duct. This is really the only one that was like kind of successful out of these three shades, and they did send them to me, and I feel bad, you know, hating on them. I'm not trying to be too negative, but I feel like there's not a good launch. So pretty enough in the tear duct. But when I tried to put the shade on my eyelid, it also did the same thing where it just kind of disappeared into thin air and didn't do a whole lot of anything. So we are getting by with this makeup look, and I have another palette or another eyeshadow product that I want to test out again. I've only used this about 3 times at this point. It's from Dibs, and I like a lot of stuff from Dibs. I love their double-ended cream blush and bronzer sticks. Like, obsessed with those. Those are a fantastic, fantastic product. This, however, was just not successful to me. It's a small palette, and the pigment is just kind of, it's just kind of dusty. It's just kind of a lackluster formula that I feel like I had to build up a lot to get any kind of color payoff. And the fallout is not great, which, you know, fallout is not an indication of a shadow being bad. Fallout it could just be a pain in the butt, basically. It's not always an indication of a bad shadow. It just could be a pain in the butt because it's kind of messy to have a lot of fallout all over the place when you're putting your eyeshadow on. And I found that this had a lot of fallout that would happen just down on my cheek. So just something to be aware of if you're using this eyeshadow palette. It could be a little dusty a little on the crusty side, and just not great formulas. So sorry, Dibs, I feel bad. And I do want to save this look. I want to make it, excuse me, I want to make this a pretty look. I'm not trying to have an ugly makeup look. I want it to be pretty and at least wearable for me for the rest of the day. But it's looking like I'm probably gonna have to take this whole makeup look off, to be honest. Especially if I want to film what the other thing that I want to film today. So, and I am sweating. I literally am sweating the Say Slip Tint off my face right now. Okay. I don't have an eyeliner that wasn't super successful or unsuccessful for me, so I'm actually just going to take my N12 brush. I'm going to dip into the darkest brown in this Dips palette and get this on. And just create a soft wing, just so I feel like I have a nice complete makeup look. So I'm going to tap it on. And you can see I have to build and build. I've dipped into this brown eyeshadow now, what, 5 times just to get that amount of color. So the pigment just really is not quite there. It's just lacking a lot in the pigment. Okay, let's get this finished. And then I want to share a mascara that I wasted so much money on. So much money on. And that basically did nothing. All right. Good enough. Eyeliner is good enough. Now let's talk about this ridiculously expensive Tom Ford mascara. This is the Extreme Mascara. There's nothing extreme about this except for the price tag. I believe this was $70. I bought it for a full face of Tom Ford a little while back, and it just did pretty much nothing to my eyes. It's a beautiful component, beautiful Tom Ford packaging, which we all expect from Tom Ford. The brush is pretty extreme. So I guess in the title, the brush should really just be, the extreme part is just the brush and the price tag, in my opinion. This just does really a whole lot of nothing to my lashes. Like probably one of the most lackluster mascaras that I have ever tried in my entire career of doing makeup. And I find the brush is so big that it is very, very difficult not to create. See, I just got on my eyelid. Now I'm really sweating. I find that I have to just really coat it over and over and over again to get anything going on. I mean, look at that. It's like little baby lashes. It's doing nothing. It is not extreme at all, Tom Ford. What is going on with this? And for $70, I believe it's $70. I think I kind of mentally blocked it out after I purchased it and that it was not successful. I think I kind of mentally blocked out the actual purchase price because it's painful. But yeah, it's just for $70, I'd rather you buy 7 of the L'Oreal Panorama mascaras or 7 of the Maybelline Sky High, because those are like actually legit incredible mascaras. This is just does pretty much nothing. We're gonna move on, I promise you. I'm gonna let it go, and we're gonna finish up with some lip products that are just not successful for me. And one of them kills me to say it because I'm a big Rare Beauty fan, and I think they have some really amazing, really affordable makeup products. This just was not it for me. I love the color. I love the way this looks when it first goes on. As I wear it, my lips get progressively more and more chapped and like shriveled up. It's weird. It's like an odd thing that it took me a minute to realize what was happening to my lips. And then I realized, oh my God, it's from this Rare Beauty tinted lip oil. It's just not a good formula. The shade is beautiful. The shade's Hope. They have tons of beautiful shades, but the formula quite literally dries my lips up like a raisin and makes them feel ultra chapped and ultra dehydrated. So but first I want to talk about lip liners. This also pains me to say this because I think Buxom has amazing lip products. I love their plumping lip glosses. I've loved them for ages. I think they have some really great makeup. And these are nice formula lip liners. The thing that I don't like about these is, and this might sound ridiculous or like I'm being overly dramatic. I hope that's not the case. But let me show you one that's not been used. Here you go. The shape of the lip liner itself is really thick. It has like a pointed, do you see that? Sorry, it's kind of hard to show you, but it has like a pointed tip to it, and it's just really rounded and large on the end. This is not user-friendly at all. Even if for me, I've been doing makeup for 16 years and I find it so hard to line my lips with this shape of lip liner. And again, I can line my lips in my sleep, but this makes it incredibly challenging and incredibly difficult. I'm not gonna use this shade though. I'm gonna use actually this shade. This is the shade Hush Hush Henna. I love the shade. It is beautiful. But this liner shape, this makeup is melting off my face. I'm so sorry to interrupt myself again, but my makeup is melting off my face. And I powdered it about 1,000 times at this point throughout this short video. Okay, let's move on before my face melts off completely. And let me line my lips. Okay, I might take it back on the formula. The formula is actually not as good as I remember. But you see how this just gets messy? Because there's no sharp tip to the actual liner, I cannot get a defined line. It just looks messy and smudged and blurry and not cute. So then laying it flat across is also oddly difficult. Yeah, it's just not. I wish they would just change it to be a rounded tip pencil. Just go classic. Classic is great. You don't need to reinvent the wheel with a lip liner shape, you know? You just need it to work. But otherwise, that color is really pretty. Oh my gosh. My under eyes are looking rough, guys. They're looking quite rough. Yowza. My eyes look just kind of dusty. All right, lip liner is on. Now let's move on to the Rare Beauty Tinted Lip Oil in the shade Hope. It's gonna look so pretty. Watch out. It's gonna look so, so beautiful. And it feels like it's gonna be this really nice, almost like a serum-y type texture. So it feels really instantly hydrating and comfortable and like very soothing on your lips. But once it dries down, it literally sucks the moisture out of your lips completely. Oh, just got that all over the place. Okay. So I'm going to wrap this up because I don't think I could put one more thing on my face that I don't like and it doesn't work well for me. This is the look. I hope this was somewhat entertaining, and I hope you don't take it as, you know, just overly negative. I'm not trying to be overly negative at all. These products just don't work for me, plain and simple. And as you can kind of see, hopefully, even with like the nice lighting and the nice camera, these products just are not a hit for me. They're patchy. They're inconsistent. The textures are not great. They're not long wearing. They're not high performance. They're not all things I look for and that I value in makeup and in the makeup that I recommend on my channel. So, yeah, this was a full face of products that I do not like at all. If any of these products you can relate to, if you've tried any of these products and you couldn't get them to work for you as well, and I'm not alone, I would love to hear from you and I would love to hear your thoughts. Or the opposite, if you love some of these products and you know how to make them work for you, or if you have an opposite skin type and maybe like skin texture as mine, also leave that in the comments. It's very helpful information for me to hear back from you. So let's have a conversation about these products. I hope you found this video useful or at least entertaining. Thank you so much for watching my channel. I love and appreciate every single one of you so much, and I'm so grateful to have you. If you're new to watching my channel and you maybe just stumbled upon my channel, I would love to keep you here. So feel free to subscribe to my channel, and if you like videos like this, I have so many more. You can check them out right here. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.